A few years ago, Scott Archery introduced a brand new hinge release that they call the Scott Ascent. With it, they had developed a brand new design in the head that allows for a micro-adjust click and micro-adjust fire sears. The design was so successful that they produced two more releases using the exact same design. That's the Scott Select and the Scott Fusion. So let's dive into this one and show you how to make these adjustments so that you can set this release up so that it's going to work best for you. To make these adjustments, we are going to need the three smallest wrenches in your Allen wrench set. That's the 5/64, the 1/16, and the .050. Before we get started, let's talk about kind of the main components we're going to be working with. So obviously this is the handle, the head, this is the hook, and when this opens you'll notice there is a little foot at the bottom of that hook. Now what that does is that rides along the two different sears. We've got the click sear, that's the one on the left. This is the fire sear on the right. We've got three different screws we're using. So this is the lock screw on the bottom. We've got a set screw right here in the head, and then we've also got the micro drive, which is right there. A couple things to note is if you want a click, you have to make sure that the click sear is lower than the fire sear. You'll notice how I've got that set up. There's a small gap there where this sits a little lower than that one. Also, the way they make that click work, let's see if we can get this close enough you can see. This one actually sits slightly higher, so as the foot of the hook rides across this, it initially drops off this one first and lands on this one. That's what gives it that click. Then from there, as you keep rotating, it slips off the fire sear, and that's what allows it to fire. Now, one of the things we need to notice on how to set this up is that this lock screw only locks the click sear, and the micro drive only moves the fire sear. But because they are locked together, that's how we get away with adjusting these things. Before we make any adjustments, we ought to try the release and see where it's at. So I've just got a string attached to a little handle here. So when you draw a hinge, you're going to draw mostly with your index and your thumb. And as you get back here, you're going to put some pressure on here and you're going to move this until it clicks. So there's the click. And that's actually pretty comfortable for me there. And then from there, you're just going to keep pulling and rotating until it breaks. So if you don't like the way that feels, now we can go adjust it. All right, the first thing we're going to want to do is set our click position. We're going to do that. We're going to take our 1/16, we're going to come into the bottom, and we are going to release the lock screw. Just a little bit, doesn't take much. What that does is releases the lock on the click sear, but because the set screw here is still tight and these two are locked together, we can use the micro adjust, and it's going to move both of those together. So we can put this in right here, and I'll show you slightly. So if you want to speed it up, you're going to turn it clockwise. If you want to slow it down, you're going to go counterclockwise. So as you drive this, you can see it slowly turns. Nice micro adjust. And you can put this on a loop and try it a few times until you get it right where you want it. Okay, I'm going to try to put this back to where mine was, about right there. Per the instructions by Scott, they recommend that if you're going to be testing this on the bow in between adjustments, make sure you lock everything back down. If you're using one of those line pulls, or if you're just using a string like I'm using, you can get away without locking everything down. But again, don't forget when you're done, make sure everything's locked in place or it's going to move on you. So the way I've set up my release is I want it to click when I get to anchor. So here's how I do that. So I've got it set up here. I'm going to draw, and I'm going to get to anchor, and my hand's a little balled up at this time because I've got a little pressure. I'm holding this thing, I'm drawing back my bow. When I get back here to anchor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start relaxing my hand until I get that click. And when I say relaxing my hand, I mean I'm just going to slowly flatten the back of my hand. From there, I know I'm in the proper position to start my pull. So that's how I've adjusted my click, is so when I get here and I relax, I hear the click. And I'm doing that as I'm getting my bubble level. I'm leveling my bubble and slowly relaxing my hand until I get a click. Let me show you again. So I'm going to get back here and I'm just relaxing and it clicks. From there, I'm going to settle the pin, and then I'm going to just continue to pull and rotate till it breaks. Once you have your click position, you're going to go ahead and lock it back down. The click position is now set. Now to adjust the fire position, we're going to come in here. You'll notice there's a cutout here. It is hard to get to that screw, so we're going to go through this cutout. So we're going to come in here and you're going to get that in there. And we're going to break that loose. What this allows now is for the sears to move independently. We've got the click set where we want it. We've got it locked down on the bottom, so it now cannot move. So we can take our micro drive and now, get up close here, we can drive the fire sear. So as we make adjustments on this, you can see if I move that left, it's going to increase that distance. That slows it down. If we turn it right, it speeds it up. And this is where you could, if you wanted to get rid of the click altogether, you would have to set this so it's perfectly flush across here, so there is no click. I do enjoy the click, so I'm going to put this back to roughly where I had it, and then we'll go give it a try. Once that is in the position you want it, or if you're going to go test fire it, I highly recommend locking these down in between each one. You're going to put your 5/64s back in there, lock that down, and go test fire. Once you're done making all your adjustments, go through and make sure you lock everything down. Make sure it's tight so that nothing moves once you've got it set right where you want. The best part about these Scott releases is that no matter how you like to have them set up, you can adjust this one to that liking. Whether it's click, no click, if you want that click to set as soon as you get to anchor, or maybe you want a little later, if you want it to fire fast, slow. There's so much adjustment in this that anybody can get it set up so it's comfortable for them. Now this is the 3-finger large. I typically wear a large glove if you're buying like mechanics gloves, and the large fits me really, really well. This release has already become my go-to when I go out and shoot, not with just my target bow, but even my hunting bow. I became very comfortable with it very quickly, and I've already shot some of my best scores with it. If you've been wanting to try a hinge and you've just been a little scared, I'm going to tell you, go pick one of these up. They're on sale for about 170 bucks, and I'll link that in the description down below. I've got a full review on this release, so I'll put that right here. Go enjoy it. See you on the next one.